I decided to transition. I've known who I was my entire life, but my military obligation superseded my intrinsic desires, I guess is a better way to say it, or how I was feeling and expressing myself. So I waited until I got out to pursue that path.
But you knew at the time that that's something you wanted to do.
I did, and it was a pretty emotionally heavy burden. I sought a private therapy counsel. Everybody I was around didn't know the real me, and that is a very, very tough position to be with. And I mean, especially when lives are at stake, and you know, it's hard to trust somebody completely when you can't trust them with your true self. When I got out, that was kind of my green flag, and I just, you know, started. I mean, my family knew before I got out, and my closest friends knew as well. But I made a huge public statement about it, and I just started being really open. I love answering questions. I love educating people. A lot of people are afraid of what they don't know, and I think that's a lot of what's happening.
What is the biggest thing you want people to know?
That whether you're transgendered or not, I mean, you're still a human, and there's still real emotion, and there's still real problems, and it's really easy when you don't know anybody who is transgendered to kind of cut them out and not even give a second thought to how you feel about a situation because you can't personally identify that. But we've got to come together and stop that. You know, it's not, you have to have basic humanity and care for people.
So, of course, the reason we're talking today is because of this ban we're learning about saying that transgender people can no longer join the military. What did you think when you first heard about that?
Well, I was pretty offended, and I felt like kind of betrayed. Not that it personally affected me, but everyone in the military kind of, in one way or another, relates to everybody as, you know, a brother or a sister in arms, because at the end of the day, you know, they have got your back. That's what you're taught to think. And then to learn that all of a sudden you don't have that support system anymore, and just when it became okay, it's not okay anymore. And what about the lives of the people you just endangered by them already being out, and now, you know, it's not, it's like, I feel like me and my community kind of feel like a political pawn at the moment, and it's hard to feel like you're less than a human.
So it's, I mean, 6 years ago, or 7 or 8 years ago, whenever it was that you joined, this wouldn't have affected you, but now if you wanted to join now for the first time, you wouldn't be able to.
Correct.
From what we're understanding, correct?
Yes. Yeah. I wouldn't be able to re-enlist, I guess, at this point. I don't even really know what's going on, because there was something put to vote in one of the political houses, and it passed, and transgender people were still able to serve, and now there's an executive order saying they can't, and it just feels really unfair. It feels like I'm slighted, and you know, I have 6 years of good experience. I went on 2 deployments, and you're saying, and I'm physically fit, and I'm able, and you know, I have leadership experience, and you're meaning to tell me that doesn't mean anything anymore. You know, it just hurts.
And you talked a little bit about how those who are actually having surgery or anything like that, the cost, and I think that was something that was said, is that the reason we're doing this is because the cost can be high and we don't want to have to, I guess, deal with that as a military. What do you think about that?
Without being well learned on the subject, it's hard for me to take a firm stance one way or the other. Personally, I think it's hogwash. I think that is just a good excuse not to educate, a good excuse for people to just lay off a blanket name instead of actually trying to find the real root of the problem, which is lack of open-mindedness and willing to understand the subject. I think it's kind of a cop-out, because the medical costs I have personally occurred through this is, therapy sessions. I would say personally, granted, I haven't had any surgeries yet, but I've spent maybe $2,500 in the past 2.5 years through therapy, and hormone treatment and stuff like that. And so I don't even know where they're getting a $6 million figure per soldier from. I don't understand. So it's hard for me to put an honest opinion on it.
But you just kind of feel like you're being almost targeted.
Yeah, exactly. I kind of feel like there's a target on my back for sure, and definitely the people who are currently in. In all honesty, fear for their safety. I mean, transgendered murders are on the rise, and people are just turning a blind eye to that. And suicide rates are going higher and higher. And you know, it's like they don't want to help. Nobody wants to help.
Well, and especially as someone who did serve the country for 6 years.
Yeah,
it's almost like you want to feel like you're still respected.
Definitely. And you know, it's like, does what I did mean nothing? You know, you really start to question. And it brings out the worst in people and your friends too. You see your friends saying like, oh yeah, it costs too much money, but they haven't even been in. They don't even understand anything. They just, and then that hurts me because I feel like my friends are turning their back on me based on a political stance. And I'm still the same old me. I hadn't changed, you know. It's hurtful when people make assumptions like that.
What would you want to say to other transgender people who may be wanting to get into the military or maybe are in the military right now?
Oh gosh, that's a hard one. Be you and love your community, because that right now might be your only source of help and true loyalty. And stick to your friends and be safe. Be safe. Always travel in pairs.